All right, part 3 of the Chaser 32 build. Please excuse my mess. I'm going to clean this up tonight, but I wanted to make this part of the video before I started the cleanup process because I think I have formulated a game plan as far as motors are concerned. I went ahead and took off the TP motor cooling jacket and I put this one on there. Now, this cooling jacket and this motor right here were originally purchased for the Cheetah, okay? Now, I've recently acquired the fiberglass Cheetah lid to where I can do some GPS testing through the hull, and but that's for another video. The motor I have here, which is the Leopard Hobby X2 4082, this was purchased, 2 of these, for the Cheetah. But what I want to do is, first I'm going to run the TP 4092. Now this is a 1650 kV. Then we're going to try the 2200 kV, and then we're going to try this Poseidon 3000 kV. It's progressive jumps, and we're going to try this strictly 3S and 4S, and we're going to use this motor, which is 1650 with the Castle Hydra X8s, and then we're going to try this also with a Castle Hydra X8s. Now, I just finished putting 6mm bullets on it, and the reason why I did that was because the X2 Leopard motor already comes pre-set up with 6mm bullets, and I already have these extension jumpers here from 6.5, which go in to my Castle X8s, and then they adapt over to the 6mm bullets. Now, when I go up here to this, I'm probably going to have to run the XLX2 because I think I'm going to be over the amp limit of this ESC, and I really just don't want to burn this beautiful unit up here. So that's going to be the future episodes. So we're going to run a few episodes with this motor, then we're going to do a swap for this. We'll run 2 or 3 videos with this, and then we're going to do a swap for the big boy. So just wanted to give you as the viewer a little explanation as to what's going to go on in the future and the progression of this build over the next few months. So hopefully you can stay tuned. If you're subscribed, you won't miss any of it. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns along the way, please just drop them in the comment section below. But let me go over here and show you what I did. So we had to take the motor out because I had already put the epoxy here on this side. Then I had to come in and put the epoxy on the inner side of the rails. So I got that all done on this side. I got it all done here on this side. I got this all, the stuff and tube support all epoxied in, so that's looking good. And the servo is all epoxied in as well. So I think as far as like the running gear and all that stuff, we're pretty well good to go. And luckily the cooling jacket fits, and it fits beautifully, so I'm gonna have excellent cooling. Anybody online looking at cooling jackets, I prefer these over the Leopard Hobby cooling jackets. I learned this the hard way. For the first, I don't know, 5 times that I bought cooling jackets, I bought the Leopard Hobby ones, and I actually liked the Castle, or the Rocket cooling jackets too. But these right here, I believe, are TFL cooling jackets. They do excellent, absolutely excellent. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this back in the boat. Got the motor all back installed, flex cable all lined up, tightened in the collet. Boy, oh boy, does that look slick. Very, very happy with it. And I went ahead and put my wires on the bottom side. And I think what I'm gonna do is mount the ESC kind of right here. But since it's set up right now for 2 batteries, rather than run a jumper, I'm gonna go ahead and desolder this wire here and this wire here, and then move my negative terminal over to this QS8 to where I just have one QS8. Because if I ever wanted to run this boat on 6S, I could. I'm just going to run one single 6S pack. So we're not going to run 2 3S packs on this setup, at least for now. So I got to go ahead and get this little jumper off. Now that I have the Hydra X8s back down to one single battery terminal, we need to move on to which battery tray are we going to use. So we've got both TFL adjustable battery trays, the sliding, and then we have the Offshore Electric's carbon wide battery tray. Now the reason why I'm displaying these batteries are the ones that I'm going to use in this boat: 3S, 4S, and 4S. Now this is a 11,300 milliamp SMC HP pack, 3S, 11 volts. This is an SRD 4S 6200, and this is a Genzace 6800 120C. They all kind of work well in this boat, but I wanted to put this in there, kind of give you an eyeball view of it. We have to, with this one, because of the length, we can't come any closer to the motor, because if we came closer, then we're not going to be able to slide that locking mechanism because of the motor wires. So we would actually have to epoxy it in the tray about, looks like about 1.25 inches in front of the motor mount, which puts the battery, in my opinion, way too far forward. It gives you the ability to slide it further forward, but you can't slide it any further backwards. Now, if we turned it around, let's just do this for testing purposes, and we did slide that there. Now we could theoretically get in here. Let's see if we can loosen this, and then try to slide it forward, and then it would come out. So that's a definite possibility. We're gonna have to get in there, try to shimmy it. And this is what one of my viewers had said. He had a hard time getting it to work. I think what needs to happen, because it slides, and see, now we're still not sliding all the way to the back. Now the battery is what's hitting it. So it's not gonna make a difference one way or another. What I think needs to happen is these little sharp edges right here need to take some sandpaper and round these edges over, because these little clasps here are kind of snagging. They snag here, here, and up here when you try to get all three of these to go locking in. And I marked right here, this is my 70-30 mark, and I went ahead and checked 70-30 on this, and it was really nose heavy, but that makes sense because it's an 11,300 mile pack. This setup here wasn't so bad because the battery's a little bit smaller, but we kind of fall right back into that same category. So this pack and this pack weigh nearly the same. They're only within about 30 grams of one another. So we're talking about an ounce, a little bit under an ounce. I honestly think that's the way to go. It puts the battery lower, we get a lower weight distribution, the battery's lower in the boat, not by much, but we take out the height of these feet, and I'm kind of digging that, you know. I don't want to be elevated up in the boat. Now, if I was going to run 2 packs in the boat and I had to mount them on the side like this, I think I would go that route, because it gives me that ability to raise them up a little bit away from one another, and then I could actually mount it on a flat surface. But because we've got this little groove here, and over here we've got this little groove right here, that wide tray, if you see, it kind of falls right in that groove, which is perfect. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find that sweet spot, and I'm gonna epoxy this wide battery tray in there. And before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and take my Dremel, and I have 2 battery strap locations here. I'm gonna go ahead and make another here, because we've got these nice Luminaire rubberized battery straps here. These are drone battery straps. I don't know if you can tell. See the weave? That's actually got rubber woven in that strap. And what it does, it prevents the battery from sliding around in the strap, which is really, really nice. So it holds it really, really well. So I think that's the direction we're gonna go. Now this is day 2 of part 3 of the build. and I have figured out where I want to put the Hydra, which is going to be kind of right here, okay? And I just want to let y'all know, I read your comments, and I do take them into consideration. Somebody did make a comment and said, put your ESC directly beside the motor, and I am going to do just that. So, since I figured out where that needs to go, I'm going to go ahead now, I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to drill my holes for my water exits. So I'm going to do one water exit right here where that little dot is, and then I measured over here on this side, and the forward blue dot right here, that's where I'm going to do it. And I'm going to be using these little Offshore Electric water outlets. I have 3 of these, and then I actually had 2 of the larger styles, but I'm going to take these, and I think I have one of those drilled out. You can kind of see in the video, the one on the left is drilled out, and the one on the right is not. So I'm going to make sure, yeah, that one's not drilled out either. So I have drilled one of these out so far. I'm going to drill the other one out, and we're going to drill our hole through the hull and get the water lines run through this thing, because we're getting close to a culmination here, guys. I decided to take my meter and measure the inside diameter. Now the one that I had drilled out measures 2.78 millimeters, and the one that has not been drilled out measures 2.35 millimeters. So we do gain about a 10 to 15% increase in the inside diameter just by drilling it out a little bit. So not really sure if it'll make a big difference, but you know, no harm, no foul. Got them little bad boys looking good. Looking good. This build is actually coming out really, really clean. I'm very excited about it. So I'm going to use this hose here. I had originally bought this for the rigger, but this is that new hose, like 6 mil OD, 4 mil ID, and it fits these 90-degree angle Hydra fittings really well. It fits these fittings right here really well, and it's also going to fit the rudder, because I noticed like the big ones, the big hoses, they don't like to go on, so it gives me enough space to where I can put them on here, so it'll actually work perfectly. Alright, got the cooling all done, got the wiring all done, everything looks good, man. Very, very clean. So what I did, if you notice, like we have a flat surface here, and then we have the back surface here, and then we have like a 45-degree angle lip. So that's where I decided to bring my through hole through here, because it doesn't make the hoses bend one way or another. Keeping it this way keeps it away from the prop. If they ever did flex down, like going through here would worry about that. And then if they went up here, then they would have to swoop, and you'd use more hose, and then as it went down, it would have to make another 90-degree angle bend and go. So I think that's actually, like, you know, the way to go, in my opinion. Very, very happy with that. So use this one here, go over, go straight into the ESC, and then boom, short little run right out here to the out. And then we're gonna, I know you should flip these around, but as far as practicality and the way it looks, I think it'll do just fine. Other ways I needed to run a big loop to fill it in the bottom. I can still put this up at top, but this just works better as far as plumbing goes. I prefer to have both of my inlet and exit ports facing the same direction. That's the way I think cooling jackets should be made, but that's just my personal preference. But since they're made like this, we're going to utilize it like that. And then we come out of there, go out of the side, boom, bang, looks good. These would be nicer if they were about 2 inches shorter, but because we use these on multiple boats, I'm not going to shorten them. So that's that, if you're wondering. So the next thing we have to do is I'm going to work on putting the battery tray in the boat, and we're going to be using this wide battery tray, and I need to prep this surface, clean it really, really well, get some epoxy, prep this. I'll probably sand a little bit of an angle on that, and then clean that with alcohol as well, and get that all glued in. And then in the next video I will have installed, I'm not even going to include putting the receiver in the boat, because it's just going to be another 24 to 48 hours before the epoxy is finished drying, and getting the receiver in there, that's kind of pretty simple, you know. So in my opinion, I'm not even going to include that. So after this video, the next video for the Chaser 32 build will be out on the water. So I'm going to go ahead now and start getting the battery tray put in the boat. So I went ahead and used this CG tool that I have made. I know somebody's like, oh, you need to make a point on it. I have a point on this thing, and that instead of it being a flat bar, I know it kind of gives it the illusion that it's a flat bar, but that little hook comes up and catches the underbelly of it. Now, if I were to support this here, you see how the nose is light? Let me put the battery in it and show you. So I've found the perfect location, and this is the battery tray I'm going to use, and that's going to be the back line of it. That's going to sit just like so. I know some people are like, oh, what about the lid? Well, it actually falls right smack dab in the middle of the lid, so it shouldn't make that big of a deal, and if it does, I can always compensate by moving the battery forward or back just a smidge. So this is what the whole build has been focused around. Proper CG from the get-go. So let's go ahead and just pick it up. This little mark right there is my 70-30 mark. So we're going to put that right smack dab on that. Let's lift it up and see. Let's see. Not bad. Still a little light on the nose. The battery can go forward a little bit, but I just tested this like literally 10 minutes ago, and the only difference is I've taken the 3 battery straps off. So it's like the weight of the battery straps had. Alright, just had to do it. Put the battery straps just kind of generically. Let's see, right there. Let's see if that even makes a difference. Holy shit if it doesn't. That's probably maybe an ounce of weight just added right in front of it, and that really made all the difference. Holy crap. So that's good, man. That's good. So that's how I check CG right there. It's still a little nose light, but that's not bad. Not bad at all. We'll be able to do a little bit more preliminary tests and stuff like that once we put the lid on it, because we're going to have a little bit more meat in the front than we do on the back, so that will actually add a little bit more weight right here over the battery. So looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and pull all this out and get it all prepped up, cleaned up, and get this tray all epoxied in. Alright, well, we got the leaning tower of batteries. So I've got the first little batch of epoxy down in there. I don't know if it'll zoom. There you go. And so basically I've just got all that weight kind of holding it down, you know. I want to make sure that it's nice and flat to the bottom of the hull and really good. So basically what I did, I brushed some of the epoxy on the hull itself, and then I brushed some on the battery tray, and then I put it in there, and then I put more in the seam. So we'll come back in the morning. By then it'll be dried, and I'll probably add another layer to each crevice and just kind of fill it in and make it flush and level, and then that'll be pretty much it. So it's now the next morning. I'm gonna go ahead and take down my towering stack of batteries. Heck yeah. That looks good. Looks very good. Very happy with the way that looks. Could be a little bit neater with my epoxy, but it was kind of thickening up on me really quick. Give me, you know, it's supposed to be 30-minute epoxy. I literally had maybe 10 minutes of work time with it, but I needed it to kind of drip off of what I was doing with it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fill in a little pocket here and kind of see where it runs below it. Everywhere else is pretty good. So a little pocket here and a little pocket here. Maybe a little bit up here. Up here is fine. Cool. All right. Very satisfied. So later this evening, what we'll do is we'll come in, put the W-fly receiver in this thing and get it working. And in the next video, we'll take it out to the small pond out behind my house, and we'll take it for a quick little rip, and we'll run it on 3S and 4S. So I'm going to end the video here. Thank you all for watching, and we will see y'all on the water.